Welcome, Coaster Spotters, to another edition of Horror Spotting. This time filmed at Six Flags Adventure for their stand-in event this year, Hallowfest. Filmed on September 27th by my lovely girlfriend Ariel, who was able to go to the event in my place since I had been under quarantine due to travel to Florida. She was able to relay everything I needed to know to be able to make this video and basically form a opinion on her opinions and everything I saw on the video. So thank you very much to her for that. And I believe I can tell you everything you need to know definitively. So we're going to go through all the changes, some of the food offerings, and what you can expect from Hallowfest in comparison to Frightfest. First off, as far as COVID operations go, it's the same deal as the rest of the year. Face masks are required at all times, as is 6 feet when you're standing still for the most part, and wash your hands and all that stuff. So you shouldn't be too surprised from that. First off is Scarecrow Street. This is a rehash of the graveyard that they typically do here. It's doesn't take up as much area. I think that's why they did that. They usually have a graveyard around the fountain. And first off, if you need to get your membership trail pass, you need to go to the catering area next to Cyborg. This is where you got your membership bottle, so same place. If you don't, there's plenty of places to buy a trail pass. $6 per maze and $20 to do all four. You receive a punch card if you go for the combo pass, and this is what you also receive if you are a Diamond Elite member. So you get to go through each one of them once. Let's talk about our first maze, if you'll call it that. Reflections of the Dead. This one opens earlier in the day, and so you can get that one out of the way early, which I suggest you do. The rest of the houses open at 7 p.m. when the ghouls all come out to their scare zones at 6 p.m. There is no parade like there has been in years past with all the ghouls coming out. Just an announcement that all the scary stuff is coming out. Reflections of the Dead is just a mare maze. This was introduced 2 years ago, so the third year. And you do need gloves, but that's not even COVID. They don't want you to smudge up the mirrors. So that's exactly the same deal as other years. And also, it's no scare actor, as there has been in previous years, just a mirror maze and a couple of video effects. That booth right there was where you would get your skip the line passes if you're a member for the last few months. It is no longer there. It's just across the way at this little temporary booth. And Ariel said it did not take too long to get the pass. But well, we'll talk about that later. They do have some special offerings. Candy Monster is their Dippin' Dots flavor. Looks disgusting. It's cotton candy and chocolate. But let's take a look at some of the scare zones. During the day, Clowntown is basically a replacement for Carnival that's been in the Boardwalk for years. Some of the same decorations. That creepy clown inflatable has been scaring kids to death above the carousel for the last 15 years, so I think he's actually probably in a better place finally. I was wondering how I'd feel about this whole event, and while it's a lot of the same decorations, it's actually kind of refreshing to see them all moved around the park. Most of the scare zones are going by different names. So while it may be a lot of the same stuff rehashed, it seems like it makes it give it a new breath of life. That's what Ariel was saying. It's nice to see that. But it's still a lot of the same stuff, unfortunately. The next specialty item here, you can find at a couple of booths, and there it is. Also, here's a quick look at one of the ghouls with his face mask, and it looks awesome. Down Dream Street, we have some new offerings. Candy apples. Now, they have some pre-made ones. This is in what typically is the Coke Freestyle Refill building, but they're not doing that this year. So they have candy apples, and you can actually make your own up to 4 toppings, only $8. And then if you have that Diamond Elite membership with that discount, that means only $4. And then you have your kettle court stand. They've had this before. It's usually over by the Sky Coaster. I think they just moved a lot of things around, so the flow of the midways are better, if I were to guess. But it includes some snacks, which is fun. Here is the basically former Demon District that's over in Movie Town, now over by Joker. As said, here is a lot of that stuff. It's District 6 Unearthed, and as I said, most of these props are straight out of the Demon District. And there is a bunch of stuff for the kids to do, as I said. Pumpkin Patch Lane is basically just a photo opportunity. It has what they're calling a hail bale maze, but it's not really a maze. It's more just of a one-way walkthrough with these kind of cheap decorations. They're basically the stuff that you would see on people's lawn. It seems like maybe they have had a reduction in budget, which wouldn't surprise me, unfortunately. They also have Campfire S'mores, which s'mores are a cornerstone of Holiday in the Park, but they have one booth here on Dream Street, which is actually blocking half of its capacity down Dream Street. So I'm very confused why they would have put that there. I can think of a lot better locations for them to have put that, but that's the decision they made there. They also have trick-or-treating. We're not sure exactly how that's being done with the social distancing, but they're doing it, and I'm sure they're doing it in some safe manner. But it's available for kids under 12 years old from 2 to 8 p.m. Those barrels there you can see where Carnival would typically be, just spew up fog. And here is Lady of the Lake Cemetery. This is a cornerstone for Frightfest. This has been part of the event forever. If you actually want to find out about all the years that all the mazes were introduced and scare zones were introduced, I did a lot of research last year's video. And if you want to get a comparison of what was there last year compared to this year, give it a look in the little card up above in the right corner. But let's talk about COVID operations outside of Hallowfest. They've gotten better. They now use like plexiglass barriers for rides such as Batman and Nitro, and even King Ka is running every row now, just social distancing you in the station. That was the issue with people standing around in the station. So it seems like it's better in some aspects. I was actually seeing some of these changes a few weeks ago. They're better and worse at the same time, to be honest with you. But we'll talk about how the scare actors are trying to scare you in a world of COVID in a minute. But here's Bugs Bunny National Park with Cornstalk National Park. It's not as cool as it sounds. They just put a bunch of cornstalks throughout the kitty area. And the logo is probably the best thing. They have a specialty funnel cake, just chocolate sauce, whipped cream, and Snickers bits on top, but it's included with the snack plan, so that's fun. This can be got at the funnel cake stand in the Golden Kingdom Outpost. So as I said, the mazes open at 7, and Mama's Farm is the first one Ariel tried out. This has been Bloodshed in previous years, and it's pretty much the same thing, but they've removed a lot of the props. Anything that's hanging has been removed. Anything that can really get in your way has been removed. And they're instructing you not to touch anything. And but the other rules are the same rules as other years. Instead of being grouped with other groups into small groups and pulsing like they have in other years, it's just you. So Ariel is actually able to go all by herself, which seems actually kind of fun. So there is that. She waited about 20 minutes for this one once it opened. But we'll go into how the scare actors are trying to scare you without getting too close in a second. Here's a shot of the Boardwalk area just to give you an idea of the crowds and what you can expect on a Sunday, typically. It was definitely not deserted, but it wasn't too crowded. Wicked Woods is a return from previous years, and the description is actually the same from other years. And Ariel said this one was very unchanged from other years. As I said, they got rid of anything that would touch you. And as far as the scare actors, how they're scaring you, in areas where they have a lot of space to move around, they can come quite close to you, but they still keep your distance. In areas where it's very tight for them, they're behind plexiglass, which they actually can use to their advantage to scare you. So it's worked out in some ways. And look at that sky ride actually running both sides right now. That is fantastic to see. Here's a look at the scare zone and what you can expect from the ghouls here and the Lady Lake Cemetery. In this scare zone in particular, they're actually all behind that fence, so they're not going to get too close to you. But of course, they're all wearing their masks, and they've actually used that to the advantage. They painted up the masks to match their makeup very well. It's almost seamless from skin to mask. The only place that you really can notice it is the straps that go back to their ears, and I feel like that might have been done intentionally just to make you aware that they're wearing that mask. And of course, they have all that fog going. So in some places, you might get a little disoriented, and you could bump into someone potentially. So just be aware of that. But Ariel did not really run into any problems with getting too close to anybody, and she felt perfectly safe at this event, and she will let you know if she doesn't. So that's for sure. Here's the Demon District area. I've already forgotten what it's called. But as you can see, they're using props to drag around. And this guy right here is going to get close to you by just flinging his cape instead of getting his face right up in your face. So a creative way to scare you without actually getting too close to you. The only way the actors will get too close to you is if you walk too close to them. As you can see, those lasers are really cool. They are from two different areas, both focusing on the fountain, which we'll show you in a moment. And if you look at this girl coming up in a second, you can see how fantastic some of those face masks are and how just seamless they seem and how much detail there are. It's absolutely fantastic. As far as the general public's use of masks, Ariel was assuming that it would go way down once it got dark. But it was actually quite well from what we've experienced at other parks where it has not been so great. So she was very happy to see that. And our last maze here is Apocalypse. This is formerly known as Aftermath, which was relocated to this location last year after Jersey Devil began its construction. So it's a lot of beat up vehicles and scenes and all that stuff. So that's the deal there. It's probably the weakest of the three, she said. Although she waited all of like 5 minutes. So towards the end of the night, there was no wait whatsoever. So here's one final look at Clowntown, and we'll go into our wrap up of the event. Don't expect a full event. Houses are reduced in more than half. I think they had 8 or 9 last year, and now they're down to 4. And I wouldn't really even include Reflections of the Dead in that. There's very little live entertainment. No show in the Showcase Theater. No Dead Man's Party, unfortunately. And there is some live entertainment. The Blood Drums has not returned, but they have a smaller production opposite of the entrance of the Golden Kingdom Outpost. Ariel wasn't able to see that, so we can't comment on that one. And then apparently there's some roaming entertainment that she was not able to come across. So just go into it knowing that there's just not going to be as much for you to do. And with the hours reduced to only 10 o'clock closings at the very latest, you're probably not going to be able to get it done anyways. And once again, thanks, Ariel, for coming and checking out the event and giving you a good idea of what the crowds are like, what to expect, and if you should go. And if you're a day ticket person, you probably should avoid it, though, because you're not going to get the full event. And finally, here's a look at like how the crowd levels are at close to give you a good idea of how busy it was. If you've been to the park on the weekend, then you shouldn't have much to worry about. You should feel just as safe as before. That's what we have. I can't wait to experience it myself. I'm not going to make another video, but thank you so much for watching The Coaster Spot. This has been Alex. Like, comment, and subscribe, and we will see you next time. Look for a Hallowfest video at Six Flags Fiesta Texas coming soon.